What's going on, everyone? My name is Joji Davenport. I'm a high school chemistry teacher and a six-figure Amazon FBA online book arbitrage seller. What that means is I buy books on Amazon and eBay that are super undervalued and then flip them back on Amazon for a profit. Obviously, in doing that, you have to track your books because you got to know your numbers. So today's video is going to be all about how I utilize the SellerAmp Google Sheet integration to track every book that I purchase. And so first thing I'm going to do is just show you my spreadsheet, and then I'm going to walk you through how you can go set up SellerAmp to also track your books as well. All right, so here we are in my spreadsheet. You can see this is the Joji 2023 spreadsheet. This actually starts on March 3rd of 2023. I was actually tracking books a little bit differently before this, but if we scroll all the way over to the right here, one thing that you'll see is I actually keep track of how much I spent so far. So up until this point, it's only 3 or 4 months after that point, I spent about $38,000. I purchased 1,800 books, and for all the books that have actually sold already, the average book cost of those books that have sold has been $20. The average sell price has been $76, and the average profit per book has been about $37. So that's basically 182% ROI, which is absolutely awesome. Now, if every book that I bought were to sell like this, which it probably won't, but if every book were to sell according to kind of the averages so far for what has sold, the projected revenue would be $143,000. The projected check that Amazon would give me would be about $109,000, and the projected profit would be about $70,000. So the purpose of this spreadsheet, again, is just to track where you got your books, just so that you know what was the source in terms of where did you buy it, how much did you buy it for, how many of them did you buy, and all that kind of stuff. So let's go and just walk through what my spreadsheet has. So the first thing is something quite simple. It's going to have the date there. That makes sense. You want to know when you purchased the book because you kind of want to know how long does it take for you to sell your book, right? I have the source. You can see I have Keep Alert, I have Flip Mine, the deals page. I've got a couple of other different ways that I find books as well. Obviously, I have a link to the ASIN. I also have the product name. Really cool. You can also have a link to the actual Amazon product, right? And this is all exported directly from SellerAmp, which is awesome. Have the quantity, the cost price, the break even, the sales price, the total fees, and so on. Now, the one thing that I added on my own just to try to bring everything and tie everything back together for the tracking is everything that's highlighted over here, I added. And so if this is something that you also want to use to keep track of your books, this is something that a little bit later on the video, you'd have to copy from one of my spreadsheets over to yours. And of course, that would be completely free for you to use if you want to use it. But basically, I've included these different criteria, such as when the book actually sold. That'd be the date sold. Then I have this feature called the age, and that just simply tells me what's the difference in time between when I purchased the book and when it actually sold. And that's going to tell us how many days it took for the book to sell. So for this Harry Potter book, which looks like it's the first book on the spreadsheet, it took 101 days to sell. Now I actually record the actual sales price as well as the check that Amazon gives me, and I do that by going to Amazon Seller Central, and let me show you how I do that. All right, so I'm over here in Amazon Seller Central, and you can see that you actually have this little location that says total balance, and if I click that total balance portion, you can go and click on the transaction view, which would be right next to the statement view, which is the default here. So I'm going to click transaction view, and now when I do that, you can actually see the date that you sold a specific item. You can see whatever the transaction type was. Looks like I just got this very expensive book refunded, which is kind of a bummer, but it's going to show you basically the total product charge. It's also going to tell you the date that it sold. It's going to tell you how many, what the Amazon fees were, and also what Amazon paid you after fees. So what I do is basically just take this value, the date that the book sold. I'll take what the book sold for and also the paycheck or the amount of money that Amazon gave back to me. And I'll go and put those values over here into the spreadsheet so that it can calculate what my profit is, my profit margin, and my ROI. So literally for this whole entire part over here on the right, all I'm going to be doing here is just including the date that it sold, the sales price, the proceeds, and then everything else is just going to be calculated automatically. Now I have conditional formatting on this spreadsheet, which simply just means that for the profit, if you see a number in red, that means that I haven't made money off it. And there's going to be a couple of reasons why. One is the book hasn't sold yet, so it's technically just inventory, active inventory. It could become a loss in the future if it doesn't sell. Obviously, if it's green, that means I sold it and made a profit. There are obviously sometimes we sell a book for a loss, so it might be red for that reason. But basically, all these spots that are red, they're pretty much because the book hasn't sold yet. It's still just listed for sale. Let's go in and jump on over to SellerAmp and show you how you can actually use that to track books similarly. All right. Okay, so what you're going to want to go and do is open up google.com, and you're going to come over here, type in selleramp.com. And you obviously need to pay for the monthly subscription or the yearly subscription. I recommend the yearly subscription because you save a little bit of money. It's not really that expensive. I think it's like less than $20 a month. And of course, if you want to support the channel, the easiest way to do that is to use the free trial link below because it doesn't cost you anything and it supports me, it supports the channel. Okay, so what we're going to do here is go and log in once you set up your account, and you're going to be brought to the home page here. And up at the top right, you're going to see this Google Sheet integration button. And the first thing you have to do is set this up. I can't remember exactly how I did it. Either there's going to be a spot top for you to connect your Google account, or you might just need to click the setup button. But when you click that setup button, you're going to see up here at the top right, you have the Google account, and it's going to, for me, it says it's connected because I've already connected my Google account, but you're going to have to reconnect or connect your Google account to get this started. And it's actually really simple, right? Just click the button, you have to put your password in, and really simple. Now over here on the left, you're going to see all your different spreadsheets. For you, since you haven't made any spreadsheets, I don't think you'll see any of these actually. You'll just see something down here that says new sheet. So what we're going to do and what you would do is just click this button called new sheet. And by the way, these are all different Google Sheets that I'm keeping track of specific products, right? So you're going to go ahead and click this new sheet button, and it's going to bring you to this next page over here. Okay, and this looks super complicated, but I promise you it's actually quite easy. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is give it a title for your spreadsheet. So for me, I title my spreadsheet Joji 2023. Let's just call this a test book OA, and that's going to be the name of the spreadsheet. Now over here on the right, we have field mappings, and the field mappings are just going to be the columns that you want to show up on your actual Google spreadsheet, and it's completely customizable. Whatever you want is up to you. Now again, if we look back at Joji 2023, you can see the specific order that I decided I thought was helpful for me, but by no means do you have to follow that. You can use whatever you want. And the cool thing is you can move any of these parameters. Like for example, let's say you didn't want the date to be column A like it is in Joji 2023 here. Scroll over here so you can see that. So like, let's say you didn't want that to be the first thing that pops up here. And what you could do instead is you could use these arrows to move it maybe to B, so that maybe the date is B. Let's say, you didn't want that. Let's say you wanted to have the tags to be third instead of the ASIN. You could obviously click and you can move that. So this is customizable. You can move it any way that you want. The other cool thing is all the way down here under column M, you can add other stuff as well that SellerAmp is going to allow you to export from the actual Amazon listing. And so if you wanted the package width or length for whatever reason, you can have that. There's so many things that you can use. What I'll say here is probably the more simplistic you make it, the better. Honestly, all I really care about is when did I buy the book? How much did I buy it for? That's really what I need to know, right? So once you've got everything set up the way that you want it, all you're gonna do is click this button down here in the bottom left called test and write headers. And then once you do that, you're gonna click open up in Sheets. And now you're gonna see that this is our test book OA spreadsheet. For whatever reason, not sure why the name doesn't come over here to the spreadsheet. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and rename it again up there. But now we have everything that we need. So we have the export date, the tag, the ASIN. I'll show you what the tag is a little bit later on, and everything that is helpful to you would be here. Now let me show you the way that this would work now. Okay, so when you're on an Amazon product listing and you decide you're gonna buy a book on Amazon, it doesn't even have to be Amazon, it could be on eBay, but eventually you're gonna end up at the product listing on Amazon because that's where SellerAmp is gonna pop up. What you can do is use this calculator here to get your cost and your sell price, and that's where you'd input the information. Like for example, this Campbell biology book, you see that I can't even sell it, right? I'm restricted, but let's pretend this is a book that you wanted to flip, and let's say you could pick it up for, I don't know, let's just say $17.99 is the buy cost. And let's say you did your keep analysis and you think maybe you could sell this for like $65. That would be your sell price. Well, obviously SellerAmp is going to come here and project your profit, your ROI based upon those metrics. But what you're going to see is down here under Google Sheets here, you're going to see a link to all of your Google Sheets, and you can see that this is SAS by Sheet 10. It should say test book OA. And if I refresh the page, it will show that. But essentially what I'm going to do is go ahead and click whatever note or tag for the way that I found the book. So, and I'll show you how to set that up here in a second. But let's say we found this through Flipmine. We can click the Flipmine button. That's going to assign that tag to this product. And then we're just going to go and click this button here. This is SAS by Sheet 10. And if we come back over here to test book OA, you can actually see that it just populated right now. You can see that it gave us a tag. And this is really helpful because when we go back into the future, maybe 5 months from now or 10 months from now, we're like, okay, hey, we bought this book using Flipmine. We can do some sorting features with Google Sheets to figure out, like, did we buy most of our books through eBay using Flipmine or through Keep It Deals, through Track Product Feature, whatever it is. So you can see it exports the ASIN, the product name, the URL to the page. They're just going to give you, your break even, your sell price, your profit, all that stuff. So that's the premise of how getting that information to the spreadsheet works. It's one click of the button. It's super easy. That's why I like using SellerAmp. Really, for the Google Sheet integration, it saves so much time because if I wanted to enter all this data in manually, it would take a while. Like that probably would take at least 30 seconds to get all that in there. Plus it's something that doesn't seem very fun to do, right? But if I can come over to the Amazon product listing page, put the cost price, the sales price, how I found it, boom, it's done within like 2 to 3 seconds, super quick. Now, you probably want to actually track other information like how many books you bought and the average cost of the book and the average sell price of the book. If we go back to Joji 2023, you'll see again that I had this section here that had all this other information that I'm interested in tracking. And so what you could do if you're also interested in this, I have a spreadsheet called the mentorship example spreadsheet here, which has everything set up. So all you would need to do is when you come to this page is just literally copy and paste. Now, one thing that I will say, and this is really important, is because I'm using formulas in these columns that I've created myself, it's only going to work if if yours is basically set up the same way as mine. So, date, tags, ASIC, like everything in exact order. And if you want to set this up on your own, obviously you could just take a look to see what the formula looks like. It's not too hard to figure it out. But if you wanted to be, super simple, copy and paste, and you'd want everything set up the way that I have set up here. So maybe pause the video and look at how I've set everything up. And honestly, I think it's almost the default on SellerAmp anyway. So it might be super easy that way. So what you would do here then is, if we go back to this test book OA, we'll see that basically this spreadsheet goes to column L. And for whatever reason, not sure why, any Google Sheet expert or guru out there could tell me why this is. I don't know why, but basically you need a column that's empty in between what we're about to paste. So have column N just be completely blank. And then what we're going to do is come back over to the mentorship example. Basically, I'm going to copy all of column N all the way over to column AA here. I'm going to Command C because I'm on a Mac right now. I'm going to go and copy that, come back over to test book OA, and then go here to column N and Command V, which means paste. And now you can actually see that I have all this information here. Okay, let me go and just move this a little bit around so everything fits a little bit more nicely. And by the way, what you could do, just as an example, like if you don't want to export date, you could just change this to date, by the way. Like it doesn't have to stay the same name. You can just change that to date if you want to do like that. And also here for the tag, you see that I have flip mine. So let me show you quickly how to get that tag there. Okay, so we're back over here on the actual product listing page. We have SellerAmp. Up here, you can see if I scroll down to notes and tags, I have a whole bunch of different ways, right, that I've actually sourced these books. And the way that you're going to set this up is all the way at the bottom of SellerAmp. You're going to see this little settings icon. So you're going to go and click that button. And then you're just going to start scrolling down to the bottom until you see what is tags. And once you're at tags, you can go ahead and click and add a new tag. So you just click new tag. Let's say you want to add flip mine. You can go and type in flip mine. You can click apply. And once you click apply, then it's going to show up here. Just go ahead and refresh the page. And that's how you're going to be able to have all the different tags. Okay, now some other things that you're probably going to be interested in is, what does QTY mean? That just means quantity. So for this feature down here to work, which is books purchased, what you're going to want to do is click the one button here. If you just click one, so quantity one of that book, you can see that you now have one book purchased. And what's cool here is I already have prep fees and inbound fees included in the total cost of the book. So if you are using a prep center, then you would put whatever that value is. Like let's say it's $1.75, then you would change all the prep to $1.75. I just like to say on average it's about $1 per book for inbound. That might be a little bit of an overestimate, but that's just what I use. And you'll see that basically the profit's negative $21.24 because that's going to be all of the prep and the inbound plus also the cost of the book that we purchased. Okay, because you got to think about those other fees, not just the purchasing of the book, but also the prep fee and inbound. Also, if you're doing your own prep, then obviously that would go away and that would be a lot better because you're saving money prepping on your own. Now, for me, again, I don't got time to be prepping my inventory, nor do I really want to do that. So I'd rather just send it to a prep center. And by the way, if you don't have a prep center, it's actually way easier to get one than you think. I have a video on my channel with Shannon Mann from Central Virginia Prep if you want to get that set up. Again, really quite simple and really quite easy in comparison to probably what you're thinking it would be. Let's go ahead and just pretend that this Campbell Biology book actually did sell. So here we bought it today, which is June 30th. Let's pretend that we went back to our Amazon order page and let's say it sold a month from now. So like, let's say it sold on July 30th of 2023. So what I would do is go ahead and just input when the book sold, and you'll see that this is 30 for age. That means it took 30 days for that book to sell. And so that's just a formula that I had created in that cell. Now, let's say the sales price of this book, right, we projected it would be $65. Let's pretend that it actually was $65. That was the exact sales price. And let's say Amazon gave us a check back for like $47.15. We'd put that value in, and what you'll see is that it's actually going to go in and calculate what the fees were for us, $17.85. It's really cool because you just go ahead and click this column T up at the top. You'll be able to see all of the Amazon fees that you paid at the end of the year, which is really cool. You can also see like what was the gross revenue of all the products that you sold. You can even see that for cost price under column F. So a lot of cool things you could do once you've actually set this up and you've done it for the entire year. Now, right now the profit should be in green, so this should be conditional formatted, but it's not. So what we're going to do is go ahead and click on this column right here. Then we're going to come up here to the format button, and we're going to come down to where we have this conditional formatting there. And what we're going to do is go and create some rules here. So what we're going to say is that if this cell is greater than 0, so greater than 0, we want the default to be green. We're going to press done. And we're going to add another rule, which is going to be that if this cell is less than 0, we're going to have it be red, because I think generally red means like this book hasn't sold. That's not generally a good thing, right? So now you can see with the conditional formatting that this shows up green. This is now profit. Now, again, over here, what we can see is how much we spent on that book. And again, that's going to include both the prep fee and also the inbound fee. We're going to see how many books we purchased. Because we've only basically bought one book so so far, according to what we set up here, basically the average buy cost is $21 and the average sell price was $65 because we've just sold one book. And we have the average profit, projected revenue, projected ROI of all the books if they were to sell this way, right? So clearly we're making a lot of assumptions with these projections because we've only sold one book. But once you've sold hundreds or thousands of books, then all of a sudden the averages are going to be a lot more, they're going to be a lot more accurate because you've taken hundreds and hundreds or thousands of books and you'll start getting your averages. The one other thing that would be really helpful for you to use if you are not using a prep center is to make sure that you include the tracking number on the order. So you can go back, let's say to eBay or Amazon, let's say you bought the book, you can look at the tracking order number and you can actually copy and paste it here. And the reason why that's super helpful is because then when you actually receive those packages in the mail, you can actually use a barcode scanner and you can just come up here, Control F, Control Find, and then you can just scan the barcode of the package in, and then it should highlight to basically the row of the book that you purchased. And you can say, okay, before you even open the package, I should be expecting the Campbell biology in this book. Sometimes the seller tries to pull, fast one on you. They send you the wrong book, the wrong edition. They send you nothing. Like I've been sent nothing before. It's kind of sad that people would do that sometimes. But the point is, it gives you an easy way to track, okay, this is for, this specific reason. Now, I use a prep center. They include the tracking number on the spreadsheet that I use for them, and I don't need to do that. But if, sometimes I do send books to my house and I will include the tracking number there. So this is basically the way that you could use SellerAmp to track every single book that you purchase. And like I said, if we just look at the Joji 2023 example, what you could do once you have a data set that's a little bit more complete like this, you could go ahead and just copy basically this entire spreadsheet into another spreadsheet, and then you could go ahead and actually filter it out. So let me go ahead and show you how that looked like. So I basically copied all of that data from the source spreadsheet over to a new spreadsheet. It's called sheet number 3. I'm gonna go ahead and select everything, and then I'm gonna come up here to the top right and click this little create a filter button. And then you can do really cool things like, let's say we want to look at profit and we want to sort by Z to A. We can see like what book do we make the most profit on. So we can see that it looks like the most profitable book this year that I've sold so far has been $199 profit. Looks like I bought this herbal medicine book for $44. Looks like I sold it for $299. It only took 26 days to sell. So that must have been a really, really great deal from the deals page, and $199 profit. And what's actually really interesting is you can see that the top 3 most profitable books come from different sources. So don't be relying on just one source. There are plenty of ways to source books, but we got the deals page, reverse sourcing, and FlipMine, all over $100 profit there. What's actually really cool, this book down here, this Collins Scott's Kin book, this is actually highlighted red. And basically if we come back here to the main spreadsheet, we can see that red means rewards points. So I'm going to come out with a video here shortly about the Amazon Prime Rewards Visa card that I use. It gives you 5% back on all purchases. That 5% comes back to you in the form of points that you can use to buy stuff on Amazon. And sometimes I'll actually use rewards points because I spend quite a bit. Like I've spent $38,000 on books. So 5% of that probably could be like $1,500 in rewards points that I've been able to use to buy books basically for free. And so going back over here, it's just kind of cool to see that one of the most profitable books, I come back to sheet 3, was actually this book here, which was bought for technically $12.27, but again, technically for $0 because I used rewards points. Looks like that was flipped for, what is this price here? $112, and that made a $74 profit. So that's all I got for you today, everyone. Again, if you want to support the channel, the easiest way to do that is to use the SellerAmp referral link down below. You get a free trial to try this out if you want to use it. Like I said, I love SellerAmp because I get to track my books super easily. There's also a whole bunch of other features that I plan to make. So if you want to know the other ways that I use SellerAmp, there's plenty, by the way, then let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to make a video showing you all the other features of SellerAmp that I think are really awesome for online book arbitrage. But that's all I got for you today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye. See ya.